Local news that matters on Local 22 News.
At this place in history, we're in Waterbury at Little River State Park with Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society, Steve Perkins. Steve, I know where we are. I've done this history hike before. I love it.
Well, you know, we're going to try to get everybody outside and enjoying Vermont as we roll into the fall here. And we're going to explore this history hike. So we're going to look at kind of an abandoned hill farms in Vermont. This is indicative of what you're going to find throughout the Green Mountains. But this is all preserved as a nice hike. It's easily accessible. And so I think it's going to be something that we can show our viewers and they're going to love to go do themselves. So do you want to go take a little bit of a hike?
Let's do it.
Perfect.
So we've stopped at the edge of what was the Ricker farm or the Ricker property. What can you tell us about this spot?
Well, I'm going to read to you about it here because I have my handy-dandy guide to the history hike. And it says the Gideon Ricker farm was 250 acres. The original house was built in the 1830s. He purchased the land in 1839 for $1,500. He added a two-family house. And the main barn, the ridgepole, was a single 84-foot spruce log that was cut right here on Ricker Mountain. And then the cow barn was 120 feet long. So if you can imagine that within this landscape.
Even without the trees, this area is very rugged. I can't imagine farming here. What were some of the challenges?
Gosh, I can't imagine farming here either. I mean, I think we can imagine the challenges. So you're on a mountain in Vermont, so your growing season is really short. The side of the hill doesn't have much soil depth. So when you're thinking about farming and kind of pulling those nutrients out of the soil on a regular basis, especially in the 19th century, this didn't work. And then anytime there was a big flood, it would just wash that topsoil away. So though there were a lot of farms and a lot of people living in this area, relatively speaking, it was tough. I don't want to use the word vibrant. It was not a vibrant community. It was a tough life. So they did everything from, you know, they had cows, they had dairies, they had maple sugar, they did a lot of logging, but it really was subsistence farming.
And is that why we don't see farms here today?
It is. I think a lot of people who come visit Little River, they know about the reservoir and they think, oh, they just flooded out all the farms. So yes, there are farms underneath the reservoir, but they were long gone. By the time World War I rolled around, so we're talking about like 1917, 1918, most of this area was abandoned. I think the last person left in the early 1920s, and it started to get bought up by the power companies, what later became Green Mountain Power, thinking that they would build a dam for hydroelectric, so they wanted all of the watershed. So really by the time the reservoir was built, there were no farms here. Everyone had just left, and all that's left are cellar holes.
Yeah, so we want to talk more about what evidence people can see if they come here. Obviously cellar holes, we've got stone walls everywhere. What else? There's
a lot of like equipment buried in the woods here too, and even cemeteries. There are 3 cemeteries just on this hike alone, and they're very readable. So you can see there's one right beyond the Ricker house, and you can see who was buried there and when. And then the roads themselves. A lot of these hiking trails are roads. You can see the stone walls running up and down either side. So for me, I love it. It's a great place to come, and you just kind of imagine no trees, farms, and people living off of this land, and now, you know, it's a wilderness.
At this place in history,